welcome to my channel. My name is Joy, and today I'm going to be talking about three of the Greek mythology myths about how Orion became a constellation. Now there are so many versions and so many different stories about how Orion became the constellation up in the sky, but they all do agree that he was a great huntsman. He had enormous amount of strength, and he was very gigantic, and also that he was like the most handsome man that was earthbound. All right, so this first myth I'm going to be talking about is a love story. There's, like I was saying, there's many versions of Orion, and this is one of the versions of Orion and Artemis. Okay, so first off, Orion is the son of Poseidon, which is the god of the sea, and also Poseidon is Zeus's brother. Okay, so I just wanted to put that in a little bit. And all the versions as well say that Orion can walk on water. I mean, that's, because he is the son of Poseidon, the king or the god of the sea, right? All right, so let's just get on with this first myth from the Greek mythology. All right, so as I was saying, Orion is the greatest huntsman that ever lived, right? He was also a human. He wasn't a god, all right? And he had wonderful aim, a very good mind, and had extraordinary strength. And he went around and hunted all the animals of the earth. And it's like, no matter what type of animal it was, he would always outdo it because of his powerful strength and his keen sense of his mind on how he had approached the animals and such. And one day he got so bored with the earth, with all the earthly animals, that he and his dogs, Canis Major and Canis Minor, his hunting dogs went down into the underworld because he wanted more of a challenge, because the earthbound animals just weren't a challenge for him anymore. So he went down into the underworld with his dogs and had many battles with the beings, the creatures. We'll say the creatures down in the underworld. And he got a few bruises here and there, but he always won. And then before you know it, he decided, and he came back and was earthbound again with his dogs. Now Artemis is is the goddess of hunting, and her brother Apollo is the god of light and the archery. Okay, now Artemis, she was so fascinated with Orion before he even went to the underworld, and when he came back up from the underworld back onto the earth plane, she was very excited and she fell in love with him. She just fell head over heels in love with him all over again. She was so infatuated with him. She'd watch him, from the heavens. She's a goddess. She'd watch him from the heavens, and and trace his every step, and this got Apollo a little upset. Now, Artemis and Apollo were twins, okay? And he started getting very jealous of how his sister was, wanting to have a relationship and fell in love with a human, all right? He didn't like that at all. Not at all, not at all. And then, so he had said to her one day, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it that you are falling for this human Orion here. Don't you believe that we have the power and the strength? We're gods, and we're gods after all. We have the power and the strength. Don't you believe that I am better than Orion? I am the god of light and archery. And she's like, "Oh, don't be silly. Don't be silly. He's just so fascinating. I just love him." So one day, Apollo said to his sister Artemis, "I want to have a contest because he was getting so distraught and so aggravated by the thought of Artemis again loving on Orion and infatuating over him, that he says, let's have a contest. Let's have a contest." She's like, well, okay, well, all right. So what he had said to her was, let's have a hunting contest. Now remember, she is the goddess of the hunt, and he is a god of the archery, okay? So he said, let's see who can shoot their arrow the farthest and kill an animal down on earth. They're up in the high skies, up in the heavens. And it just happened to be a very cloudy, foggy-ish day, the day that he approached her with this. He's being a little trickster right now with Artemis, but she doesn't quite know this. This is his devious plan he has to get her off of the thoughts of marrying Orion and having a relationship with him and such. So, she agrees to go ahead and have this contest with him. And so he says to her, let's go ahead and fly over the sea. Now you have to remember that Orion can walk on water. His father is Poseidon, okay? So they go over the ocean. Like I said, it was a foggy, cloudy day. And he says, "Oh, I see something bobbing in the water there. There's something bobbing over there." And she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see it too. And she really didn't see it though. And it was so foggy they couldn't really tell what type of animal it was or what it was. And so they said, okay, here. Apollo says, okay, let's do it. Let's do this. Get ready and aim. They both aim, and they didn't see it bobbing anymore, so they lost track of that arrow. They lost track of the arrow as well because it was in all the clouds and the fog. And so as they shot their arrows, they lost sight of it, like I said, and they were flying. They flew down to follow their arrows to where they landed, and if they had caught anything of what they say they both saw bobbing, all right? Now remember, Artemis didn't really see anything. She just kind of shot her arrow. So they fly down, and when they get down to where their arrows had landed, Apollo missed. Apollo didn't hit anything, but Artemis hit Orion and killed him with her arrow. And she was so upset and so saddened. She just zoomed down, she just, flew down and wrapped him in her arms, and was crying and sobbing and so sad. And she got mad at Apollo as well, because she figured it out what he had done. So she was very upset with Apollo, and she's yelling at him, and she's crying and just holding Orion so close and so tightly. And because of her anger because of her anger at her brother Apollo and the love of Orion, she took Orion by the arms and hurled him up into the sky, up into the heavens, and had asked Zeus if he could remain there in the sky, because she just adored him so lovingly, and that Zeus went ahead and brought Canis Major and Canis Minor along, placed them inside up in the sky as well with Orion. And so Orion always has his hunting dogs with him, and Canis Major and Canis Minor is the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, if you didn't know that. Some call them Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. But in this story of Orion, they are known as Canis Major and Minor. And so from that day on, Artemis, because she is the goddess of the hunt, and she is also known in some myths to be the goddess of the moon. And so, she forever will see him up in the sky now, because she is the goddess of the moon. She will be up at night to see Orion every night. So that is one story I have on how Orion became a constellation. And now I'm going to be playing you a song that correlates with this myth, and then after the song plays, I'm going to be telling you another myth about Orion. Alright, so enjoy the song. I'll be right back. our second legend here on how Orion became a constellation, we go to this Greek mythology as well. We have, in this story, we have the 7 sisters, and Merope is the one that the story is mostly about, of those 7 sisters, and they're princesses, and their father is King, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Oenophile? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but of Chios. Alright, so as we know, Orion's the best hunter, most wonderful mindset, lots of strength, the most handsome man that was earthbound, with a humongous strength, wonderful huntsman, wonderful hunter. And one day, he was hunting for deers out in the forest, and he saw these 7 ladies. Now, because, he is so adored by everyone, right? He kind of wanted to go, go and meet these 7 sisters. So he did, and Merope was a little fascinated with him, and he was fascinated with her. And the king, Oenophile, wasn't quite sure. He wanted his youngest daughter, Merope, to be fascinated and attached with Orion. So he decided to go ahead and talk to Orion and sent him off to the island of Crete, where there was a lot of beasts, and sent them there and told him, if you can go to that island, if you can go to the island and you can kill all the beasts, I will let you have a relationship with Merope to prove to me that you really are whom everyone says and talks that you are. Okay? So Orion did that. He walked the sea to the island. He got rid of all the beasts. Okay? He came back, and the king was surprised that he actually survived and that he had done this. And he denied. He went against his promise to Orion about being able to have a relationship with his youngest daughter, Princess Merope. And Orion was very agitated and aggravated about this. He didn't like being lied to. So he went and, how can I put this in a nice way? Alright, made love to Merope, okay? They became a couple, and the king was very, very upset with this. He did not like this at all. So he murdered Orion and threw him up and threw him up into the sky. Banished him from Earth. Okay, banished him from Earth. And so that is how Orion got up and made it up into the stars as a constellation, by that king throwing him up into the sky. And it is said that Taurus was one of the beasts, and that Orion is always hunting and trying to catch Taurus. And the 7 sisters, more than likely in this story, is also relating to the Ploidies, the 7 sisters, the Ploidies. And Ploidies is found in the constellation Taurus. And Orion, the Ploidies is really close to Orion up in the sky, if you know anything about the constellations up in the sky. And it is said that Orion is always chasing after Taurus the bull to catch him. And the sisters, the 6 of the sisters, they know that Orion is trying to catch up with Taurus. Now Orion does not know that the seven Ploidies, the seven sisters, are right there inside Taurus, though, because he can't really see that. He can't really see that well, as because when he was being murdered or killed by the king, he got blinded in one eye, so he can't really see that well anymore. But like I said, those six of those sisters were laughing and smiling and carrying on and trying to distract Merope from her lover, coming towards, chasing after Taurus, because Merope is in her mind, she doesn't realize that Orion is so close and chasing after them. So they're kind of teasing and making fun of Merope at the same time. And Merope is also in the constellation of Ploidies. She is the faintest star in that constellation, because of her father, the king, was very upset that his daughter was no longer a virgin. Okay, and this is another reason why Orion can't see that Merope is with the sisters in Ploidies, as he is chasing after Taurus up in the sky. So I have a song on this as well. So listen to it, and then we'll come back and I'll do one more story of Orion and how he became a constellation.
Orion strides through the velvet dome to loyal hounds his eternal roam. Stars ignite where his arrows soar, yet the bull still charges forevermore, chasing Taurus through the endless night. The sisters shimmer a distant light. Merope glows, his heart's delight, but he can't touch her out of Canis Major barks at the cosmic tide. Canis Minor whispers a quiet guide. Through the cold of the winter's breath, he haunts a love he can never possess. The Ploidies laugh a celestial tease. Merope weeps in the midnight breeze, chasing Taurus through the endless night. The sisters shimmer a distant light. Merope glows, his heart's delight, but he can't touch her out of His bow is drawn, his aim is true, but the sky's vast curtain hides the view. He reaches out, the stars deny, forever bound to the winter sky.
right, so now we're on our third legend here in Greek mythology on Orion and how he became a constellation. And first of all, this is Miss Hissy Cat. She came to visit us in our story time today. Yeah. All right, so I'll go on with it. All right, so all right, as the story goes, the same, the same outline of Orion, the greatest huntsman, the most handsome man earthbound to the earthly plane, very, very witty and strong mind, lots and lots of strength and gigantic, the tallest, he's very tall and muscular. All right. So he's going on the earth plane, on the earth. He's just, killing all the nature, all the animals of the earth. And Gaia is very, very upset with him. And she pleads with him and asks him and begs him to please stop, being this huntsman. You need to let some of the animals live. This is the earth. This is the earth plane. This is nature. Please stop destroying nature. Well, because he's very boastful. He's very boastful, very egotistic. He knows he's this great, big, gigantic, strongest man on earth. He's just very, very boastful. And he doesn't stop doing this. And he doesn't stop doing this. So this one day, he went to the lake where there was a monster. Because he didn't only kill animals. He also killed the monsters that in this mythology that was around as well. And he went to have this fight with this monster. Or this sea creature, we'll say. And Gaia caught wind of it. Gaia caught wind of this killing, of this fight that he was going to be doing, and she was very, very upset because she made it very clear to him to stop ruining the nature, stop ruining nature for fun. And so she called Scorpius. She called on Scorpius, the scorpion, and she planned and asked the scorpion to please, when Orion is fighting this sea monster, I want you to go there and I want you to sting him, so he will die. And we won't have to put up with the destruction of the earth animals any longer with nature. Orion will be gone. Scorpion. Okay, so the scorpion went, went along the ground, went up to the sea, found Orion. He was dueling with the monster. Orion stepped back, and he pretty much crushed the Scorpius. But before that had happened, the Scorpius stung Orion in the heel of his foot. And to the great wonderment, they had both passed on then. They both were at their demise. The scorpion killed Orion, and Orion killed Scorpius. Now Zeus, he found this, for some reason, Zeus found this very comical. Very, very comical that a scorpion killed this strong huntsman of the earthbound man. This wonderful godlike human strength that he had. He found it very humorous. So what he did is he took the scorpion named Scorpius and threw him up into the sky. And then he also took Orion and he threw him up in the sky over here. Now today, Orion is in the west, always in the western sky, and Scorpius is always in the eastern sky. Through our months as our world turns, the skies, go along with them. So Orion and Scorpius is always up in the sky, but they're always at different hemispheres at the same time. And it is said that that Orion is constantly chasing Scorpius to get back to him, to get back at him for killing him and having Zeus, laugh at him and throw him up in the sky. Okay? So those are the 3 stories that I have on Orion and how he became a constellation. Like I said, there are many, Orion goes back so far back. You have stories of in all different cultures on how Orion became a constellation. You've got the Egyptians. We all have heard the story about how the pyramids, go up, point up exactly to Orion's belt. There's stories from from India, all across the world, and from indigenous tribes as well. Like I had said earlier, some see Orion as not Orion, but see his dogs as bears, right? We all know it's Big Dipper and Little Dipper, and the Northern Star is in the Big Dipper. That's a biblical type story there as well. So there's lots and lots of legends in mythology with Orion. And these were just 3 that I decided to do. And one more thing here I want to mention is that Orion is one of the constellations that can be seen around the world. Not every constellation in the sky is seen by every country, by every area of the earth, of the world. But Orion is one of them that everybody can see. I find that very interesting as well. So again, I have another song here for the story. Goes with this legend, this story of Orion and Scorpius. I do want to mention that first 2 minutes of this song is all instrumental, but it does, it's all instrumental. But I think it's on this song, the mark at 1 minute and 59 seconds, I believe it starts, the words start. So I'm going to put timestamps down below for everything, from story 1 to song 1 and so on and so forth. And I'll split this song up in timestamps, so if you don't want to listen to the long instrumental introduction of Orion and Scorpion song, you can go ahead and skip ahead. And alright, so that's what I have for you today. I thank you, and enjoy your stargazing. Thank you. Good night. Bye.